Amy, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. I was so blessed to be on yours, and I'm so happy to have you on mine. I would love for you to just share a little bit about who you are and who you serve.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Robin. I loved our conversation and I'm so excited to be here today. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Amy Traugh. I'm a business strategist. I host the Motivated CEO podcast, and I'm a soon to be published author as of March 2024, which is still like surreal. I don't know. I still am trying to wrap my mind around that. So, what do? I help online service providers make money, generate those consistent sales that they want so that they can create the impact they desire, but without sacrificing their two most valuable assets, time and energy. And I've developed my signature CEO method to help guide entrepreneurs through this process in a way that feels good. We're not talking sleazy sales. We're talking about just showing up as your authentic self and leaning into your strengths.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I think that it's so important because I do feel like some people forget about their values a little bit. Sometimes it's like they
Yeah.
go all in on this business, but then it's like forgetting the reason you went into it. Maybe the reason was like to have the freedom, to have the money, and then you're in this business and you're just like, I'm actually not serving in a way that feels aligned with who I
Right.
am as a person, what I wanted to do, the impact I wanted to make. So I think that it's just so valuable to have that.
Yeah, it's so sad how many entrepreneurs I see and talk to that, they've quit their 9 to 5 to work 24/7. And it's so easy to get caught up in the hustle of it because we're conditioned to think that, okay, if I just work a little bit harder, if I just do more, that that's going to result in more results. Not always. I mean, the inverse is actually true. We need to be taking that time to stop and pause and really get clear as to what we want, or else we start to adopt everyone else's goals as our own. And as a
Mhm.
recovering box checker, I've totally been there. So it brings me joy to help entrepreneurs get out of this chaos, get out of that hustle culture, and
Yes.
really design a business around their life.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's so perfect. It like literally gives me chills because it's the dream. You know what I mean? Like that is the dream. Like I
Right.
I just I'm so fired up about that. And it's like that you get to choose, right?
Yes.
It's like sometimes it's like shaking someone and being like, you don't have to live on autopilot. You don't have to live the same day every single day and be unhappy. Like get out of it, shake yourself, wake up and realize that you get to choose and you get to create the life that you want. Ah, so good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you take us back? Okay, because you weren't always a business owner
No.
and you had other career plans and paths. So, can you take us back to when you were in that career and you thought it was going to be your thing and you just kept feeling like there's something more? And like, what did that look like? What was the job and kind of what were your signs that like this wasn't it?
Yeah. So I come up from a career in healthcare. I had life figured out. I was that like overachiever box checker. Like as a senior in high school, I graduated, I had like half of my college degree done. Like I was that person. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought I had it all planned out. I was going to go to school, graduate, which I did. I graduated when I was 20 years old. I had my degree in physical therapy. I worked in outpatient orthopedics. I had my dream job. I had my husband, the kids. Like I was living my dream life on paper.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm going through the motions. I'm working 40 hours a week, raising the kids, doing the navigation of like daycare, shuffle them around, this, that, and the other, just going through life on autopilot. And I really felt guilty for a long time. Like I have everything I could have ever dreamed of and more. Who am I to want more? Like I'm being ungrateful. So there was a lot of guilt. And then the year 2020 happened and the world stopped. Suddenly, I was a mom to a kindergartner and a preschooler that needed homeschooled because,
Oh, hmm.
all the schools weren't open and there were no daycares. So it was like, okay, My husband works in healthcare as well. So it's like, what are we going to do?
Yeah, now what?
Luckily, right, exactly. Like, oh, okay, we're SOL, right? Like, how are we going to figure this out? But you do that, you figure it out. So I took a furlough. I was offered the opportunity. They had to cut staff by 50%. I'm like, you know what? My family will always come first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that happy, anyways, at my career. Things have changed a lot in healthcare over the years. And I took the risk. And I still remember there was a day, and that spring was gorgeous here in Ohio. Like, it's always gray and rainy in the spring. It was so picture perfect. I'm sitting outside. The girls are playing. They are like carefree. Like, there's this like pandemic happening all around us. Nobody
Yes.
knows what's happening. And they just don't have a care in the world. And at that moment, it hit me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am missing this. I am never going to be able to live in this moment again. Like, in all this uncertain, like nothing is guaranteed. Like, what am I doing? And it
Mm-hmm.
was at that moment I knew that something had to change. I had no clue what. I had no clue how. I just knew, okay, this is my sign that I can make a choice. I can make a choice to make a change, because I didn't know at the time if I'd have a job to go back to. So I'm like, you know what? Why not? Why not just take a risk and see what happens? So I came up with this whole plan and I told my husband about it. And bless his heart, he's just so sweet and supportive. He's just like, okay, cool. Like, try it, see what happens. So I started my first business, which was a residential home organizing company. During a pandemic, that was like the best business to open ever, because Marie Kondo was super like popular at the time, home edit,
Yes.
everybody stuck at home, like seeing all this stuff, and it's driving them crazy. And so I started this business and it grew. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm making money? Like, what am I doing? And at the time, I had no clue. So I reached out to others and, got support, mentorships, just to make sure I'm doing everything like legally, ethically. There's so much involved in the back end of a business. But as I was growing the business, I realized like a huge part of growing the business, a local service-based business, is networking.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't find groups that I really fit in with. I would try, different things here and there. They were all virtual at the time, and I just never fit in. Everybody would always ask me about my little mommy business. And I'm like, but this little mommy business is like paying the bills here right now. Like,
Yeah.
okay, that's fine. But I just didn't fit in. So I started a community for female entrepreneurs in my area, other moms that were running businesses just like me, as a place for us to come together, to collaborate, to use each other as referral partners, to share each other out and just support each other and help each other navigate. So, in the process of growing the organizing business, I found these other women were asking me, well, how are you doing this? Like, you don't have a business degree. I'm like, nope, I don't, but I'm figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
Literally anything out there you can Google. You can look up anything. There's so many people, resources. At the time, Harvard had free like business trainings. Like, Harvard Business School was offering courses for free. So I was just a sponge and just like consumed all the information that I could.
Yeah.
I just implemented. I just implemented what I was learning, and it worked. And in the process of growing that community, what I realized I love doing is what I did my whole career in physical therapy. It was empowering and educating others. It was empowering and educating others to achieve their goals, to achieve their version of success. It's not about me. It's about serving others and helping them create the results that they want. So yeah, it was messy. I still look back and I go, whoa, what just happened? And there were a lot of feelings of guilt and shame and just, I don't know, it was messy. It was messy going through it. And there's been some hard pivots that I've had to make over the years. But looking back, it's as Steve Jobs always says, you can connect the dots. Everything played out exactly as it should. And it's just beautiful now looking at that journey and seeing like how I can help others. Like, we're all in this together. I don't ever want this to be, look at me. It's, hey, come with me. because I've been in your shoes and I'm here to help you get to where you want to go.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that story so much. That's amazing. It's so cool. And it's like being able to pivot when necessary. So like, okay, let's just be nimble. Let's shift when we need to shift. And also how it evolved into something that, you were doing this one business and it's evolved into something completely different now.
Right, exactly. But it's just leaning into those opportunities and being willing to be a beginner again. And that's something it's hard. It's hard
Mhm.
to do because as we're growing up, we start to fear failure. We
Yeah.
start to really think of, okay, if things don't go exactly as I planned, that there's something wrong with me.
Hmm.
But the reality is, no, you're perfect as you are. Like, that's what makes us human, is our flaws. And that's amazing. It's just, start talking to yourself like you talk to your kids, like you talk to your friends. When you listen to the narrative that we have running through our heads, sometimes we're like our own worst enemy. We're like these mean girls to us. But it's like when, your kid's learning how to walk for the first time, you don't expect that child to just pop up and take off running. No, you're going to fall down over and over and over. But when you learn to just embrace it as part of the journey and learn from it, adjust, adapt, just like that little baby when they're starting to walk. Oh my gosh, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah. And it's like, don't quit on yourself too early, right? It's like,
Right.
allow for that time, allow for yourself to learn, to grow, to continue to get back up, and I'm seeing that too, like test things out, try it, be
Yeah.
curious about, oh, what if I do this? Try it. If it works, great, keep going. If it doesn't, great, keep going, learn, right? Like adjust, change something, try it again. It's like, I mean, that is where I think the magic happens. Just don't quit on yourself.
Right.
Just and reach out. Maybe like I think I've also learned that connections are so crucial and finding that community, right? And finding your people that are going to support you and where, it's not about competing with each other. It's really about uplifting each other and we're all going to rise. I mean, that's just been so magical for me to witness myself.
Yeah.
Um, so
It's
yes.
it's so hard to say those three words. I need help. I need help. I still have trouble asking for help because, again, we've been taught that, like, no, toughen up, do it on your own, figure it out. Okay, yes, you can figure it out, but there's people that are willing to help you to make that journey a little bit lighter, to
Mhm.
really support you. And that's why I agree 100% about community, being able to link arms with others that get it. Because in a lot of situations, your loved ones aren't going to understand what you're going through. The conversations are different, and you need those people in your life that get you, that understand what you're going through because entrepreneurship, it's hard. It's not all rainbows and butterflies and sitting on a beach making, these 50K months effortlessly by, just doing this one course. No, like you said, it's trial and error. And when you realize that business is nothing more than an experiment, that takes so much weight off your shoulders because you realize that no matter how much success you have, no matter how many flops you have, it's not a reflection of you. It's the data. And when we can use the data to drive our decisions, we start to make progress faster because we're getting curious, just like we were in science class, that if I mixed this and this together, nothing happened. But if I mixed the vinegar and the baking soda, it made this really cool, like fizzy reaction. So we need to start giving ourselves some grace, giving ourselves permission to ask for help and be a beginner again. And when we do that, it takes that weight off.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really does just make me feel more free. Like I feel
Yeah.
like the pressure is just kind of it like my shoulders are feel a little bit, lighter whenever I think about that and just think about just get curious, just be creative, have fun with it. I mean, the fun, I think, is where you just get into that flow and things will naturally just kind of start to happen. I'm really seeing that actually in real time. Because I'm not holding so tightly, right? I'm not holding so
Yeah.
tightly to like it has to happen this way. I'm allowing it to happen as it goes and learn as I go. And I think that that has really guided me into this beautiful path.
Yeah. And it takes practice. I
Yeah.
still remember a few years back, somebody asked me, they're like, well, what do you do for fun? And I'm like, I mean, I work. And I'm like, I don't do anything for fun. So that was a really big wake up call. And I know when you're in the early stages of building a business, of motherhood, of raising kids, no matter where you're at in life, we all have our challenges. Life gets busy, it gets hard, but I challenge you to pause and ask yourself, when was the last time I had fun? And go and do something for yourself. Put it on the calendar, schedule that date night, do something fun, live this life. We get so fixated in living for the future that we miss the present moment. And I was there. I was on autopilot. I'm like, well, I guess this is the way that it's going to be. So until I was forced to pause for the first time in my life during that period where I was on furlough, I realized, oh my gosh, this is the only time that is guaranteed. So I have the power within me to make a choice, to make a change, because I don't want to live my life and one day regret not having lived, just existing. No, I want to embrace my kids. I want to enjoy it. You think about it, 18 years and they're considered adults. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, looking how fast my kids are growing up, I'm like, what? Like, in a couple of years, like, we're going to be looking at colleges if that's the route you want to go? Like, huh? This is not okay. And
I
I
know.
don't want to live a life of regrets.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And like putting it off. Oh, one day. Oh,
Yeah.
no, because you're so right. The only time you have is now. And you have to do the best you can with what you have and decide what kind of life you want to live, and decide that the world doesn't get to tell you that. You get to decide, like that is just such a magical like thought process because I don't feel like it's something that we typically see as an option growing up. We see that like, oh, you have to go to college and get a degree and then you go to then you go and you do that career forever and then you retire. And I'm like, I don't want to ever retire, have to like work all of these years and then have to retire at a certain like, no, I want to live the life I want right now.
Yes. Yes,
So
exactly. Exactly. Carpe diem. And then, we're showing our kids that, hey, this life is worth living. You
yeah.
get to define success on your terms. And that's looking back, that's a mistake that I made. It was, really thinking that, okay, in order to be successful, it's by doing this, this, and this. Well, no, I'm not the same person I was when I was 18. I've grown, I've evolved, I've changed. And once I gave myself permission to change my mind, like, it was so freeing. It
Mhm.
just opened up so many opportunities. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still days when I get frustrated. I get overwhelmed. I'm tempted to burn it all down to the ground and it'd just be easier to go back to, my full-time job. But then when I stop and I realize, no, I get to choose. I get to live this life. I can change my mind if I want to. I get to see my kids now. Like, there were days I would never see my kids when I was doing 12-hour shifts. Like, I wouldn't see them certain days. And I like have so much regret about that at this point in life. But now I realize, like, you know what? I'm going to embrace the time that I do have with them. When
Yeah.
I'm with them, and I'm going to live in the moment.
Oh, I think that's such a great reminder, just being present for those times that you are,
Yeah.
with yeah, it's so important. So what advice would you give to maybe like the woman out there that, knows that they're kind of feeling stuck, they're kind of like in that career, they thought it was what they wanted, they thought it was the dream, and maybe it's not. Like, how would you advise them to start, to start dreaming and to start living the life that they really want?
Yeah. as adults, we tend to forget how to dream. We really keep our dreams small based off of what we think we can achieve. But I encourage you to stop, to pause, to really go inward and reflect, what do I really want? What do I want my life to look like? Really get so crystal clear as to, okay, let me think of the ideal day. What would that look like? And now, once you have that crystal clear vision, how can we take steps to reverse engineer that to make that happen? What does that look like? And who can you ask for help to help you get there? And sometimes it just means having a heart to heart with your friends. Sometimes it means talking with your spouse. Sometimes it just means brain dumping it all on a piece of paper. There's so many different ways to go about it. And that's the beauty of it. There's no right or wrong way. So if you enjoy journaling, journal it out. If you enjoy doing something like breath work, do breath work. But take the time to pause, because we are living in a culture where we're constantly consuming information over and over and over. It's on demand. I mean, there's so much overstimulation that our brains are facing that we need to take time to quiet the noise. I mean, how often, and I'm still guilty of this, and I have to catch myself where, there's something on TV, you're scrolling on the phone, something else is going on. So many things are happening all at once that we're not getting quiet enough to even realize, like, what's going on inside. And really
Yeah.
taking the time to do that. It's intuitive. It's hard because we're addicted to the hustle. We always feel like we need to be doing something. But in those moments of calm, in those moments of quiet, that's where you get the clarity. That's where
Mhm.
you really uncover what it is that you truly want.
Oh, that's so good. That's such amazing advice because we are, I mean, from the moment we open our eyes in the morning, it's just we are go, go, go. We're
Yeah.
inundated with everything. We got our phone, and the phone is like such an addiction that we can't
Yes.
like let it go and just be with ourselves for a minute. I love that advice. I
Yeah.
think that's
So
great.
for me, I mean, I've even started like, I'll go on a walk. I try and walk every day. And I do it to clear my head. And I get the best ideas when I'm on my walk. But because I turn my phone off, I have it with me just in case there's an emergency. But I
Mhm.
have the phone like in my pocket. I don't have any notifications on. I don't have my earbuds in. I just go and clear my head. I mean, how often do we have these awesome shower thoughts, right? I get some of my best thoughts in the shower, but it's because we're taking the time to be quiet, right? A lot of the
Mhm.
times, like, I don't usually have music on while I'm taking the shower. It's just me and my thoughts. So really taking that time intentionally will help you so much, because you're right. Yeah, from the minute we get up, we grab the phone. We want to see, okay, who liked my post? Who shared? Did somebody email me? Did somebody text me? Like, what do I? And so we get into this reactive mode from the minute we wake up, and it just sets our nervous system off. So if we just take some time to just take a deep breath and address ourselves and our needs first before we pour into others, that's going to refuel us and ignite us and give us that energy to pour into others.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it's so good. Okay, so tell everyone what you're working on right now, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about the book.
Yeah. So right now we're gearing up for the book launch. It'll be released on March 26th. It's called The CEO Method, an entrepreneur's guide to business success. In the book, I literally guide you through step by step through my CEO method. So we really focus in part one on getting clear as to what do you want, asking ourselves, really unpacking the answers to those questions. And then we get into establishing systems and automations. This is going to give you back time and energy, because when you're doing all of the things, you accomplish nothing. So we are regaining control. We are getting systems in place. We are tracking data to let our data drive our decisions and working smarter, not harder. And then the O is organic marketing and sales strategy. So, how can we go from a follower to a buyer? Really guiding you through step by step how to do that process in a way that feels good, a way that feels authentic, where you're not just spamming people, you're not doing those cringy bro marketing tactics. And then in part four, we unpack those self limiting beliefs, all the mind drama that goes on, all the fear that starts to come up. That's something I was not prepared for when I became a business owner, was how much of a personal development journey it truly was, how important mindset truly was. So we unpack all of that and put a nice little bow on it. And yeah, it's just really putting my process out there to help others achieve the success that they desire. Because it doesn't matter at the end of the day whether you want to make an extra $100 or an extra $100,000. That is your number. This is your business and you make the rules. So I am here to just share my knowledge and what I've used to help others achieve the success that they desire.
I love that. I cannot wait to get the book and read it. I'm so excited and I'm just so proud of you for, making that decision and then just taking that action. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so magical what happens when you just start. So it's great.
Yeah.
And this has been
Yeah.
such a great conversation. Let everyone know where they can follow you and connect with you and work with you.
Yeah, so the best place to connect with me is over on Instagram at Amy Traugh. Drop in, say hello, tag Robin and I. That makes our day. When we have listeners pop in and say, hey, you know what? I heard this episode and it was, here was my biggest takeaway. That literally makes our day. So tag us, we will share you out. And then also my podcast, the Motivated CEO podcast, is streaming on all platforms.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much for being on. I just adore you.
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity. Right back at you.